Hello everyone, listen closely, because what is unfolding around Greenland is not a minor diplomatic disagreement or a temporary trade dispute. It marks a deeper shift in how power is being contested in the modern world. When Donald Trump reignited economic pressure linked to Greenland, it reopened strategic tensions that Europe believed had been managed, if not resolved. What followed was not panic, but calculation. Across European capitals, policymakers began reassessing assumptions that had shaped transatlantic relations for decades. Greenland is often seen as distant, isolated, and frozen in time. In reality, it has become one of the most strategically important territories on the planet. Geography alone explains why. Positioned between North America and Europe, Greenland sits at the crossroads of Arctic air routes, emerging sea lanes, and early warning defense systems. As the Arctic ice recedes, access improves, and what was once unreachable is now contested. Trump's renewed trade confrontation was not just about tariffs or market access. It reflected a broader worldview where economic tools are used to shape strategic outcomes. By linking pressure on Europe with Greenland's geopolitical relevance, the message was clear. Strategic assets are negotiable, and economic leverage will be used to influence decisions, even among allies. For Europe, this was a wake-up call. The European Union has long relied on economic integration and diplomacy as its primary sources of influence, but Greenland exposed a vulnerability. Economic strength does not automatically translate into strategic autonomy. When trade becomes a weapon, dependence becomes a liability. Greenland's importance is rooted in three critical areas. First, location. It hosts infrastructure tied to missile early warning systems that monitor activity across the Arctic and North Atlantic. Second, resources. Greenland holds significant deposits of rare earth elements, critical for advanced electronics, renewable energy systems, and modern military technology. Third, access. As Arctic shipping routes gradually open, control over key territories becomes essential for monitoring and securing movement across the region. Trump's earlier suggestion of acquiring Greenland was widely mocked. Yet beneath the surface, defense analysts understood the logic. Control does not always require ownership. Influence, access, and leverage can achieve similar outcomes. By revisiting economic pressure tied to strategic geography, Trump demonstrated how economic policy can intersect directly with security interests. Europe's reaction has been deliberate but serious. Publicly, leaders emphasize dialogue, international law, and stability. Privately, the discussion has shifted toward preparedness. The question being asked is no longer whether Europe should pursue greater strategic autonomy, but how quickly and how far. Denmark finds itself at the center of this challenge. As the sovereign authority responsible for Greenland's foreign and defense policy, Copenhagen must balance multiple pressures. Greenland's growing desire for economic development and autonomy, Europe's need for unity and strategic credibility, and the United States' willingness to apply pressure when interests diverge. Greenland's local leadership is equally cautious. Economic development offers opportunities to reduce dependence on subsidies and strengthen self-governance. But foreign investment, especially in mining and infrastructure, brings risks. Strategic competition rarely benefits small populations caught between larger powers. Greenland does not want to become a bargaining chip, yet geography ensures it cannot remain neutral. The broader European response goes beyond Greenland itself. Trump's actions reinforce concerns about supply chain vulnerability. Rare earth elements are a prime example. Europe depends heavily on external suppliers, particularly China, for materials essential to defense systems, communication networks, and clean energy technologies. Greenland offers a potential alternative, but developing that potential requires long-term investment, environmental safeguards, and security guarantees. Security is where the debate becomes most sensitive. The Arctic is no longer a low-tension environment. Russia has expanded military infrastructure along its northern coast. China has increased its presence through research stations and investments. Describing itself as a near-Arctic state, the United States maintains critical surveillance and defense assets in the region. Europe's role, by comparison, has been limited. That is beginning to change. European defense planners are discussing enhanced Arctic capabilities, not as a show of force, but as a necessity. Improved satellite monitoring, greater naval presence suited for cold environments, stronger coordination between civilian infrastructure protection and military planning. These discussions reflect a recognition that economic interests cannot be separated from security realities. Trump's trade pressure accelerated these conversations by demonstrating how quickly economic disputes can become strategic confrontations. The assumption that allies will always shield one another has been replaced by a more cautious view. Interests align until they do not. This does not mean Europe is preparing for conflict. It means Europe is preparing for competition. Competition over resources, over access, over influence. The Arctic is emerging as a testing ground for this new phase of global politics, where climate change reshapes geography faster than institutions can adapt. There are risks in Europe's evolving posture. Increased military activity raises the chance of miscalculation. Large infrastructure projects in fragile environments carry environmental and political consequences. Internal divisions within Europe could weaken collective resolve. But the alternative, continued dependence without leverage, is increasingly seen as more dangerous. What makes Greenland unique is how clearly it illustrates the convergence of economic, environmental, and security issues. Climate change is not just an environmental problem here. It is a strategic catalyst. As ice retreats, competition advances. Whoever shapes the rules now will influence the region for generations. Trump's role in this process is not that of a mastermind, but of an accelerant. By framing trade and strategic geography as interconnected, he forced Europe to confront uncomfortable truths. Power politics did not disappear. They merely shifted form. For Europe, the challenge now is coherence. Strategic autonomy requires unity, investment, and patience. It also requires political will to accept short-term costs for long-term resilience. Greenland has become a symbol of that choice, a reminder that distance no longer equals irrelevance. As Europe weighs how far to go, one thing is clear: the Arctic will not remain a quiet periphery. It is becoming a central arena where economic policy, security planning, and geopolitical ambition intersect. Europe's response will shape not only its relationship with the United States, but its role in a rapidly changing global order. This is not about escalation. It is about readiness, about ensuring that decisions affecting European security are made in Europe, not imposed through pressure from outside. Greenland may be remote, but the lessons it offers are immediate. This is the new reality of global competition. Quiet, calculated, and increasingly shaped by geography, once thought to be beyond politics. This has been a War Report analysis of the evolving strategic tensions surrounding Greenland trade and European security. Like, share, and subscribe to War Report for more war analysis and global defense insights.